So right now we're going to affect the bulge and create the bulge so it doesn't bulge the entire object. We can see now that the entire object is being bulged by this value here. And we really want to just bulge a portion of the object. So you can do that by looking at the distance between the object, points, and the surface here. There's a node again called distance to surface. Get distance to surface. We can take this node here and use it to drive the multiply by scalar factor. If we feed it straight in, it's not going to work because it needs a surface, and the surface will be the grid surface we can drag from here. Just going to move this node out a bit and just connect it to surface. And then we have a distance vector, a location, and a distance value. If we feed the distance straight in, as we move the object up and down, it will do some weird effects. Now right now that effect is due to a cutoff set inside the distance to surface options. We'll turn the cutoff off, and now as we move up and down, the object will get bigger and smaller. It's actually doing the wrong thing. It's actually getting larger the further it's away, and that's not what we want. So we need to reverse these numbers to get different numbers. So we can use a rescale to do that, but it'd be nice to know what the numbers are before we rescale them. So let's just go right mouse button, show values, and if we move a point up and down, you'll see a lot of values. They're going all the way from around 3 all the way down to around 0. We can get closer in, you can see those numbers to around 0 at the bottom and around 3 at the top. So we know roughly how large this object is. We can use this now information, feed the distance into value, the value into factor, and we're going to double click on here. We know it goes between like 0 and 3, so we'll just go 0 to 3 for the source, start, and end, and want it to go from 1 to 0 to reverse those numbers. And now as we move this up and down, we'll see it will start to bulge a bit at the bottom. If we increase this number here, we can see it bulges more. If we decrease the number here, it would start the bulge either higher or lower on the object. It's still not giving us exactly the results we want. Decrease this down a bit more, and there we go. And we increase it up and down. We can still see it's not giving us exactly what we want. And we need to look at this. One is we need to clamp it, and the clamping will make sure it doesn't go outside the range. This range without the clamping is not that effective. Now we can see it's more of what we want. Again, we can affect the bulge. Let's increase it up a bit more. Increase the actual bulge. I really want this to be 0 and 1 because we're going to feed this into another node in a second, and I want the value to be normalized between 0 and 1. Now we can see, okay, we have this effect. If we increase it all the way to 3, it's going to bulge the entire object. If we keep it lower, it's going to bulge a portion of the object. And we're going to use this as a way to control our bulge size. But I haven't controlled my bulge shape right now. It's just a linear interpolation from 0 to 1 based on that distance. And the other big problem we have right now is as we bring it down, we can see it's bulging before it hits the ground. We need to fix that, and we're going to fix that later on. Let's first of all give it a better shape. To give it a better shape, we're going to feed in an F-curve. And that's why we set it to 0 to 1. So we take the F-curve here, and we're going to drag it between these two. Just move these out a bit so we can see everything's connected. And using the F-curve, we can control its shape. If we move it up and down, you can see how it looks right now. We can take the F-curve and use it to actually really control the shape. I want a more bulge style F-curve, so I'm actually going to add a point to the middle, roughly there, using the add point. My mouse is going a little funky. Let's pick a point first. So I probably need to pick the curve. There we go. And then add a point in here. There we go. Want to move this point, let's add the 2 points. We can delete a point by either using delete point or just hitting delete. The move point tool here, we'll just move the point up to about 1. Now I want this point to be exactly on 1, so you can right mouse button and actually go to key properties and actually set the value. So we're going to say at 0.5 the value will be 1. I can go next key. Now it'll just move us to the next key, and this way the value will be at 0. And we just tweak the curve tangent a bit, and we should eventually get the kind of curve effect we want for our object. And there's our little kind of UFO bulge look we wanted. And we can change the shape of this, of course, to affect how much it bulges in or out. And you'll be able to see as I adjust these, you can really see how I can give it this nice softer bulge or a sharper bulge. And I'm actually pretty happy with this. And this end here I actually want the softer look. Again, if I bring it this way, you can see how it adjusts how it bulges down. And again, the bulge size will be affected by the rescale, so we can use a rescale and increase the end to increase the bulge size, and that's pretty great here. So I'm happy with my bulge. Again, it's not hitting at the right point, so we're going to have to do some tests to make sure it doesn't bulge until it hits the ground, and that's what we're going to do next.